Makes life a little easier on that cheap.
Vector.
That's what-
Oh,
We
yeah.
had a safety grant. So the money was good, they had to use it. Yeah, we'll stand and do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Brooke is out this evening, and Mr. Damien, our deputy clerk, is stepping in. So if you'll take roll call, Mr. Damien.
Commissioner Cochran?
Present.
Commissioner Story?
Present.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Here.
Commissioner Case? Mayor Messerschmidt?
Present. And then if we will start with the reading of the minutes, please.
Minutes from the last regular scheduled meeting, there was one thing that I noticed we needed to fix on the last page. When we approved the, releasing the lien on the real estate behind the Beatrice, looking on Beatrice Street, it's not a decapitated house, it's a dilapidated house, so we just need to make that correction in there. So I make a motion, we approve the minutes, with that correction.
And so what we've got tonight is I have 3 proclamations, 2 individual and 1 for the cross country team. And I just gotta say, I've tried to attend as many as I can. I love how your professionalism, your maturity, you represent yourself off the field, on and off the court, on and off the mat. All the things that you guys do, the way you reflect your school, your community, and yourselves, you guys are to be commended. And you represent yourselves, you represent Benton very, very well. And so the first proclamation I have here is for Mr. Teifel. You come up here. Second year in a row, 138 champion. Congratulations, sir. This is a proclamation just says, for your hard work, dedication, sportsmanship, and talent, enabled student athlete Mason Teifel to earn the Class 1A 138 state champion in wrestling. And whereas 2024 Class 1A 138 champion in wrestling, February 17th, has brought honor to Consolidated High School, City of Benton, Franklin County, state, local, national. And that is just for you to have. And I love what you've done. It was fun to watch. Congratulations. Second one I have is Mr. Genesio. Short story on Genesio, I have repaired his mom's bike way more than he's won cross country and track events. Every time his mom would bring it in, we know that his legs destroyed the bike and had to put it back together. As a matter of fact, your mom contributed well to Cycle 1. So I greatly appreciate that. But then here's a proclamation for you for your championship in cross country. And sir, well done. Look forward to spring track. And lastly, we have one for the entire cross country team and your success at state. And Mr. Buchanan is going to come and share a little bit of what he shared with the school board. So I'm going to invite him to come to the podium now. That way everybody can see you right here. Okay. And then I'll do a proclamation for the team as a whole.
So I just gonna start by introducing everybody. If you guys can like wave your hand or something whenever I call your name. So in the back we got Caleb Blades, Parker Johnson, Jack Bacon. We have Gavin, of course, Gabe Plain, Mason Teifel, Seeger, Sanchez, and Brayton Miller. And then I'm Colby Buchanan for those who don't know. Our coaches are Brent McLean and Coach Krieger. This year we had 6 regular season meets, so that just means meets that we went to with 5 people and scored. Those were Murfreesboro, where we won with 33 points. Forest Park, we won with 102. Massac, we didn't run a full team, but Caleb Blades was the individual champion. Freeburg, we won with 43 points. Peoria Invitational, we placed 4th behind Tuscola, Normal, and Benton Academy, which are the 3 of the top schools in the state. We had 5 all-sectional people. Gavin went 1, Gabe went 3, I went 4. Oh wait, sorry. Gavin went 1, Gabe went 3, I went 4, Mason went 7, and then Caden Blades went 9. And then state we placed 2nd with 104 points to Tuscola, which had 97 points. We had 3 all-state. Gavin went 1st place all-state, Gabe was 4th, and I was 13th place, and everyone excelled. And so that's kind of what we've done this year. I don't know if any of you have seen us around town. We run all the time. So if you're driving down the road, you probably saw us. And we train a lot. It takes a lot. And it really shows through our success. So, thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you. So I have a proclamation for the team. You guys can decide what to do with this with Coach McLean. You can either give it to him or keep it for yourselves, however you want to do it. But the proclamation basically says the same thing: hard work, dedication, sportsmanship, and talent boys BCHS cross-country team and coaches win a state runner-up, and in earning the 2023 class win a runner-up cross-country, brought honor to Benton, the school, and then Illinois Franklin County national level. And just on this day, I recognize you guys and all the work that you've done. And so I'm gonna hand this one to you. Congratulations. Well done, gentlemen. And there's probably no question that we'll probably be back here sometime in May, is my hope. And I look forward to seeing what your track season looks like and all that you guys have done. So I was not a runner in track, I was a pole vaulter, and I was never very good. So those of you that run, kudos to you. So thank you, gentlemen. You're more than, you don't feel free to have to hang around for the rest of the meeting. That's why we took care of you guys first. If you have somewhere you need to be or something you want to do, you're more than welcome to. Jack, your dad texted you are supposed to stay. But thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
See you guys. Jason, Amber, good to see you guys.
What they've accomplished. I mean, I was a cross-country runner and I was never very good. I was a wrestler, I was 0-14. Lost 14 matches, perfect record. So the stuff that they've accomplished just is really rare, really amazing.
At one point, we had 3 state champions walking the hallway last year with Cy.
Oh yeah, in golf.
With Cy Gavin and Mason, like it's that.
So we've got a very strong school of athletes, so.
And we got a big week ahead of us too.
We do, and on top of it, again, their academic success
Yeah.
spills over. That just goes to
All
show
good
you
students.
what they've got going on. in high
Yeah, and
school.
that's what I mean, they're not sacrificing their academics for their athletics, and.
Hang another conference champion banner.
Hopefully a couple more bands.
That would be great, I'd love it, I'd love it. All right, public property report, Commissioner Garavaglia.
Okay, I have no purchase orders, and first thing that's on the agenda for me is the discussion and approval to allow the Benton area volunteers to provide an ice skating rink for the 2024 hometown Christmas. I am getting bids from different places who provide this service, and this service is depending on which company it is, but it's approximately a 30 by 40 foot rink, and they provide, and it's made of some slip covered materials.
It's almost like a plastic.
It is almost like a plastic. They provide all the skates, and all of them are, that I've been checked with, they're all bonded and insured and all that. But before I enter into any kind of a contract before our group enters into any kind of contract with these individuals, we need to nail down that we have permission from the city to do so.
The one question I would just have is, will veterinary volunteers have an insurance policy on that? Will the city be?
Yes,
city
we'll
will-
have all that taken care of.
Where are you looking at putting it?
Probably up on Capitol Park, that's where we have done that, and we did that once
So
before.
between the retaining wall and the bathrooms, that little parking area back there,
Yeah.
which is where that had been done before. It's a great isolated
Okay.
spot, got
Yeah.
3 walls,
Mhm.
fairly
Yeah.
closed.
Yes, it was a huge hit the last time we did that, which was, gosh, 8 years ago? 2018, I believe it was,
Okay, you're gonna do that during the hometown Christmas.
during hometown Christmas. Yeah, we'll discuss the hours
That'd be a neat ad.
and all of that, but we just thought something extra fun for the kids to do at no cost to the kids at all.
And no additional cost to the city
And
because
no
the volunteer group's taking care of it.
Yes,
We just have to give permission for space.
yes.
So
Yes.
I make a motion that we allow the veterinary volunteers to provide an ice skating rink.
I'll second.
Getting proof of insurance and all of that fun stuff.
There you go. So that was perfect.
Commissioner Cochran?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Garavaglia?
Yes.
Commissioner Case?
Yes.
Mayor Messerschmidt?
Yes.
And the next thing that I have is David Booker provides our mowing service, and he has done so since 2018 as well, 2018. And during that time, he has always been 100% dependable, reliable, does a very good job. And he's even at times gone out and done extra service at no cost when he knows we have something special going on, such as at the airport or anything like that. He has put in a raise for himself this year and this will be the very first raise that he's ever put in, and that's, proposed, but, you know, everything has gone up, and so he does have the increase, and as you can see on the airport, it was 200, and he's proposed price of 225 for the year of 24, and then 235 for the year of 25. At Twin Oaks, he did it for 260 in the past, he's proposing 290 for 24 and 300 for 25. And City Hall and the police station, current price is $40, and he's proposing 45 for, 24 and 25. And then the nuisance yards, $40 per lot, and he's proposing 45 for both years, 24 and 25. I think the races are not, you know, unreasonable at all. I mean,
But he is asking for a 2-year contract.
and he is asking for a 2-year contract.
The question that I had is how far could we stretch this before we have to put that out? I mean, I don't know how we have to forbid, which is why I put for discussion, not so much making a decision, because I thought we might have to put it out for bid, so I wasn't for sure what we were gonna do.
Well, we have a lot of services that we're satisfied with and we don't put out for bid, and this doesn't meet the criteria to put out for bid. And, you know, given that I don't think any of us have any dissatisfaction,
He does a very good job.
he does a very good job.
He does a very good job.
You're not mandated, assuming it doesn't surpass $25,000 to put it out, but the reality is that you are raising the prices without having an opportunity to look at anything else. So there's not a written, you don't have a written contract with him. He simply gave you folks bid proposals several years ago with other people. He happened to be the low bidder then, or tied with as the low bidder, if my recollection recalls accurately. So at this point, I mean, I'm not telling you you can't do this, but I'm telling you you're spending public funds and the amount's increasing. So I just want the council to be aware of that, if you decide to.
Entertain that?
I was gonna say, I mean, I'm indifferent, I mean, clearly he does good work, you guys are bragging, I mean.
Yeah.
I see things that are mowed, so, I mean, I assume he's doing what he's been asked to do.
Yes.
I think the question that brings up is consistency in the fact that we put out for bids our cleaning service. I mean, the trash service is completely different, like, we have to bid.
That's a
that.
big
It's
animal.
Huge,
It's
huge
expense.
monster, but we bid out our cleaning service. I wanna make sure that, I would prefer that we stay consistent with our practice, but I'm just one voice. I also don't wanna, you know, I don't wanna alienate a guy who's you know, who's treated us well, but, I mean, I guess in a way, we kind of did that in a way by opening up for bids. I mean, I don't, you know,
And
we're,
that
you know,
was
kind of
the
see where
first- That was the first time I heard that someone suggested we
Yeah.
do that, and, you know,
What's that?
Put her out for
Release
bid.
the key.
The cleaning for bid.
I did.
okay,
I brought that up
okay,
because it was brought up to me, why don't we give some people
somebody else.
else the chance?
And in the end, she had the best price and the
Right,
best
right,
service.
I'm from Degler, and I'd like to see him get the job, but since I done the cleaning, I think it would look bad on me if we don't bid it out. I'd like to see him get it, he does a wonderful job.
Now, my concern is everybody's going to know where his proposal is, then?
That's another thing I was gonna ask. This has been in the public now, so somebody can come in and do completely different, go a few dollars under, you know. So
You
what do we,
always have to take the lowest price.
What
No,
do
you
we-
don't.
And that's what I was gonna say, just because we have something that's lower.
But I mean, there has to be a justification.
well, how do we show this if it's in the meeting,
In the minutes.
in the minutes? How are we going to?
They're not.
So what do we do? Well, we can't open it up for bid with this sitting here.
That should have been discussed previously.
Well, I was disappointed that it was only on here for discussion and not for approval, because I was prepared to make a motion that he be accepted tonight. And one thing that's very, very important, like, as you said, Matthew Harrison is very pleased with Dave.
Mhm.
That's the comment I was gonna make, there's a
And
lot of
that is-
issues.
and
Matthew's worried about grass on the runway, and he can trust it.
I mean, why don't you guys do a discussion and approval for the next meeting with this same bill, and if there's, you know, three of you that want it,
Well, can,
then that's fine. I mean, you don't have to have a 5-0 vote.
are we gonna get in trouble though with him if he says, hey, I've showed you what I want?
He's saying don't put it for bid, he just said, vote on this next meeting.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that what you're saying?
If you guys decide to do that, but if you don't, I mean, just because you've heard it, I mean,
Yeah.
you may decide that you wanna put it out.
Is that?
You may wanna
is
get
that
3 or
okay
4
with you?
proposals.
Well, and that was kind of my thought, that's why I put it for discussion, because I didn't know where we were gonna be able to land here, is that here in the next 2 weeks, we can reach out to others and do the informal proposals, we don't have to do official bid process. We can do a comp to compare his numbers to other people, just so we've done our due diligence to know that he's within range. I think we believe that he
And
is.
the minutes will not be approved for 2 more weeks, so, you know.
Yeah, so,
What do you
unless
think, Chris?
folks are watching, I mean,
I mean, and I feel like, I mean, we like consistency and, I mean, we know the body of work. You know, the thing is we kind of showed this hand, so if we put it out to bid, we've completely alienated a guy from the
and you can put it out for
process.
1 year. You can
Yeah,
give it
and
one year.
maybe that's what we do, we see if he can come back and bring us back just a proposal for the calendar year 24.
yeah.
And then next winter,
And that was my holdout for this,
We-
voting on it tonight, is that it was a 2-year versus a
Okay.
1 year.
There you go.
Alright.
we put it out for bid at the end of this season. And then that
Yeah.
way, he's not showing his hand and he
So
comes
then,
back with
so
the
let's
same
put on the
prices.
agenda for vote discussion, if he's willing to give us a quote for 1 year.
This is a government entity here, we're doing public's money.
Absolutely.
So we're not, I mean, we actually need to.
And he shot himself in the foot by, man, I think he shot himself in the foot, unanticipated. He gave us a quote and then came back and asked for more and the council voted no. So if he does a 1 year, if he does a 2-year contract, what happens if that number turns out to be way off and we see another inflation spike?
We didn't bid it last year, we actually gave it to him last
You
year,
did.
didn't we?
Yeah, we
Yes,
bid it
we
last
have.
year.
Oh, did we bid it
Yeah.
last year?
You did not,
I don't think
We
so.
did.
Oh.
you just simply renewed it, you just.
Yeah, we
renewed
renewed
it.
it.
Oh, we
renewed it.
just renewed it.
2 years ago we did.
Yes,
Cause I
I
know
do
that,
remember bidding.
Shockley bid on it.
Yeah.
And,
Garrett Britton.
Garrett Brick bid
Yeah.
on
So
Okay.
this is our second year, we should.
That-
We should.
So discussing to renew the contract again next meeting. For
Okay.
1 year.
Yeah.
There you go,
Yeah.
make sure that's on the, for Dane, to make sure the work sees that.
For 1 year.
If he's willing to entertain that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and the last thing, I am going to table, it's about using the property, those 3 lots that are behind the library. And, we're gonna see where we are with the.
I've already had a conversation with Craig. He and Beazer went out and looked at it, and he said they can get it cleaned up, but it'll be a muddy mess. There's no way to get it to a functional state.
Mhm.
Like, they can get it cleaned up so it looks nice, which is part of the goal, to make it look nice behind the library, but as far as it being used, unless we just have a really dry spring, the chance of it being dry enough to be on is slim to none. It's like, they gotta tear out all kinds of foundations and rock and
Rod Cafeteria had multiple concerns he told me.
yeah, and so the reality of the possibility is slim,
Okay,
but he just wanted us to have a heads up that the chance of using it for the Easter egg hunt,
Yeah,
we wouldn't count on it at this point, unless things just happen to go the right direction and they land in the right spot, and it just happens to be dry enough, but he's like, we'll get it clean, he's like, I can't promise it's gonna be functional.
You wanna table it or have no action?
just
Table it?
table it.
Yeah.
Yes, please. And that's all I have.
Second, table it.
Yes.
Commissioner Cochran?
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens?
Yes.
Commissioner Garvelia? Commissioner Gates? Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Streets and public improvements, Commissioner
I
Cochran.
have one purchase order here tonight for, type 3 barricades for the traffic safety warehouse. I understand they're gonna be very valuable to use during, we block off the square for Eclipse and Green Lake Water Festival. Purchase orders for $2,729.50, make a motion to approve that.
Commissioner Cochran, real quick, I just want to add that we are going to pay for that out of capital improvements. We have a line item for IPRF grant expenditures, and that's what this is coming from. This is coming from the Illinois Public Risk Fund grant,
There you go.
safety grant that we've got. We'll have more discussion about that later on with Chief Funkhauser, but that's where these are coming from.
Okay.
That's how we're paying for that. You seconded, Don?
Yeah.
Okay.
Commissioner Cochran?
Yes.
Commissioner Story? Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Case?
Yes.
Member Smith?
Yes.
Okay, no pool adjustments, no lake lot lease transfers. We do have two resolutions closing the square, for the eclipse. Let me get this right. On April 6th, from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., so we're closing the square for the eclipse. So I make a motion that we approve that.
Commissioner Cochran?
Yes?
Commissioner Story? Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Case?
Yes.
Mayor Messerschmidt?
Yes.
We have another resolution for closing the square for the Wren Lake Water Festival Parade, which will take place on Saturday, May the 4th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I make a motion that we approve that.
I second it.
Commissioner Cochran?
Yes?
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Case?
Yes.
Mayor Messerschmidt?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Excellent. Excellent. Public health and safety.
Okay, I don't have any purchase orders at this time. Discussion approval of body cams agreement for the police department. I wanna get Chris and the chief, their input, they've been in, I've been gone, so I would like for them to speak about it.
I'll let Chief Funkhauser start it, and then I'll just chime in when I'm needed.
We've been in a 5-year contract with Axon in the past 5 years. Our contract's out March 1st. I've got a breakdown of what the cost would be over the next 5 years to continue that program, which by law we have to have body cameras. The quote for the 5-year contract is $69,227.10. Broken down over the 5-year period, it's basically $13,153.15 each year up through May of 2028. Since this program started prior to our fiscal year, that's why the contract expires March 1st. They're allowing us to go ahead and pay a fraction of that 5% of the total cost of that 5-year contract before May 1st, or I'm sorry, before March 1st. It's $3,461, or $3,461.35. And they need that checked before March 1st, otherwise they have a gap penalty that we would have to pay, being off contract for those 3 months before May.
Chris, are you satisfied with their service?
Yeah, I mean, we've had them for 5 years. They're one of the top companies with body cameras. Motorola has a WatchGuard out, but if we were to switch to that, it would cost us probably somewhere around $150,000 to get all the equipment that we've already got. We have a assurance plan with Axon. Every 3 years, we get new body cameras issued to us. They take the old ones, give us the new ones. It doesn't cost us anything. We're due for new cameras March 1st. This would be our 3rd rotation of those cameras. And then each year as they get new cameras, they swap out what we've got. If there's any damaged cameras, they replace it free of cost. Their software is easy for guys to use. If we have evidence that needs to go to State's Attorney's office, we just click a link and it sends it straight to them electronically. And they're a good product, so.
I sat through the meeting, with the chief and Kyle and Christina, then was the rep's name Brendan?
Great.
My bad, my apologies. I made sure that I had them break out along with this proposal and the following one, made sure we broke it down equally amongst the duration, that way it was easy to budget for and plan for. On top of, to reiterate what Chief Funkhauser said, with the moving to another provider, not only are you gonna have to pay for new body cams and gear and setup and all of that, you're also gonna have to pay to port and transfer all of the data that our body cams that we've had Axon, we're gonna have to pay to move that, because Axon would hold it for maybe 6 months, and they're gonna wanna get rid of it, so, and that's just a huge amount of data that we were gonna have to pay to store over there with them as well. The nice thing is, this gap right here that's due on March 1st, we can also pay for out of Illinois Public Risk Funds and that grant.
Can we do that tonight?
Yeah,
I mean, it's,
we can, I think if we approve this agreement tonight,
for the 5%.
well, I mean, we'll approve this agreement and then we just have to have a check ready to go on its way to Axon by March 1st, which I'm sure you'll be in contact with them, letting them know it'll be on its way, but we can move on that pretty swiftly.
So the agreement gives us the ability to cut a check, is what he's asking.
Yeah, because we're entering into a new agreement and that gap right there is due on March 1st.
Council, just so you know, I mean, the amount exceeds $25,000, the state statute says that you have to give that out, but as one more community, you have an ordinance that allows, as long as there's 4/5 of the council that accepts this, we do not have to do that, so as long as 4/5 of you vote to accept this new contract, we're fine.
Anything else to add? I make a motion that we bypass the bid process and accept the new 5-year contract with Axon for our body cams.
Commissioner Cochran?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Case?
Yes.
Mayor Messerschmidt?
Yes.
C is discussion and approval of upgrading the interview room at the police department.
That's also, a quote we got from Axon to install 2 new cameras inside the interview rooms. And it also gives us unlimited storage to save those interviews. It includes that and the licensings. And the difference between those video cameras and the ones we currently have, the ones we have are about 6 years old now. They go directly to a server that we have. It has to be transferred to a disk, and it has to be sent to the state's attorney's office. With Axon, they kind of do all that for you. It's the same. It goes into the evidence.com that we use to store all of our data from our body cams, and it ships it straight to the state's attorney's office.
It streamlines.
Yeah, and it also gives us the ability to redact, which, the current cameras we have, we can't redact it, we can't shut them off. They run all the time. With redactions, I had a murder trial back in 2013. And during that trial, there was some conversation in that interview that was supposed to be redacted so that the jury couldn't hear it. And somehow I got through the state's attorney's office, ended up being played during that trial, and it caused a mistrial, and they had to dismiss that jury. Pick a new jury and have a new trial. So, with this kind of ability, it does. With this ability, we don't have to worry about that, so.
Same thing with the body cams in the sense that the agreement is spread across 5 years equally, so we can plan appropriately for our budget. And the nice thing is, I remember sitting in the presentation, you notice that the payment summary, the first payment date is August. We will actually not cut them a check until they actually show up and start doing the work.
It'd be somewhere around September.
Yeah. Good. But this first year, so for fiscal year 24-25, we will make that first year payment with the Illinois Public Risk Safety Grant funds.
We do that, yeah.
So if there's anything else to add on that, Chief, I make a motion that we bypass the bid process and approve new camera and AV installation in the interview room with Axon Enterprise.
Second.
Yeah, it would be 2 cameras.
Commissioner Cochran?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Yes.
Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Case?
Yes.
Mayor Messerschmidt?
Yes. They don't do anything like, parks and squares and
They might.
intersections.
I don't know, I'm still waiting for overtime on that one.
I like the way they talk, I like what they're doing, so.
It's not on here, but I'm gonna tell you, so the police department had 446 total calls from February 1st to the 26th. And the fire department had 58 in January, so.
They've been busy the last couple of weeks.
it's
They were, especially this morning.
Yeah,
I woke
it's
up
good.
and saw the notice and
They were already.
They were already down in Frankfurt with a couple houses on
It's,
fire, and then
They
everyone's,
were, this afternoon, they were back down there.
and then everyone's burning the burn ban in place, so.
I checked with my chief first.
That's all I got.
Okay, very good. Council Finance, please.
7A, one payroll from the 16th, totaling $100,009.22, with the breakdowns of $73,685.03 out of general, and $26,324.19 out of the water and sewer fund. I make a motion to approve the payroll dated 2/16 as presented.
Commissioner Cochran?
Yes.
Commissioner Story? Commissioner Garvelia?
Yes.
Commissioner Case?
Yes.
Mayor Messerschmidt?
Yes.
I have nothing for item 7B in purchase orders and no bills this time around. That'll be sometime next time around. 7C, we will discuss that in executive session. And aside from that, I have nothing else.
Very good. City Attorney, any updates?
No updates, Mayor. I have a couple of things mentioning, with Brian Coppicer who's not here tonight, that can are under you, so we can get to those. You want to handle them, so.
Sure, absolutely. So under, just kind of public affairs updates, the planning for the eclipse is going on very, very well for April 6th. We just passed the closing of the square this evening. We had, because of prom, we originally had the high school chamber jazz band lined up to play Saturday night. They are not able to play Saturday night, but they extended and they said, if we could use the stage, we'd love to play Friday night. And so I've met with the producer, the guy that's putting on the concert, and it looks like we're gonna be able to do them on Friday night. And then rather than playing towards the square, they'll play towards Capitol Park. So we'll have a Friday night concert done with the jazz band, so it gets the high school students engaged, which was one of the goals from the beginning. And as that develops, I'll let you more know. Again, Malkovich Park update, we can't do anything until we get a notice to proceed, but we are putting plans in place, kind of lining up the work and staging things, so as soon as we get notice to proceed with the grant we received, we'll be able to start working on that. The goal would be, it's an ambitious goal, but the goal would be to have Malkovich Park up and like full, almost completed by Mother's Day, so that the Garden Gate Club can come in and start doing some planting and get some trees in the ground. It'll take some time to kind of really dial that in, but I've spoken with the Garden Club and I've got a report for them at their next meeting. And then tomorrow night is the open house for the master bike plan. We've been in that process for about a year. For those who don't know, for watching on camera, the city received a grant to write a master bike plan, which is what you need in order to go get grants to put in pedestrian level infrastructure. And so tomorrow night, the I-5 group will be presenting their recommendations on kind of priority 1, priority 2, areas, paths, suggested routes, suggested reroutes, things like that. And so they would love to have the public come and share and like give feedback. Just because they presented it doesn't mean that's what we have to go with, but they'll take the recommendations and then they'll incorporate that and come with the final
Where's
plan.
the meeting at?
It's at Cafe Bloom tomorrow between 5 and 7 p.m. So Tuesday night, 5 to 7 p.m. So
Question on that.
Sure.
I got the map, you know.
yes, that was in your folder.
They've
Yes.
got that running right through the mine property.
That is one of the recommended places. The reason they said it's an old railroad bed, and they said if you had a Hail Mary and you had a wish list, they would say, could you take that old railroad bed and potentially turn that into a bike path? Doesn't mean it'll all happen. It just means they're looking at all possibilities. That's one I've seen for the last 15 years. And it was one that I knew was drawn, but then disbanded, so they just included it back in that same conversation. And I know some Martins that live back over there that aren't really excited about that
Yeah,
either.
I'm not excited about it either.
They basically did the same thing down at Tower Hill.
Bike path on the lake, but out of the lake, tie back into the railroad to take you back south of town.
There's actually one on route that you cross on Route 4 if you're going between 64 and 70. It's an old railroad bed that's a bike
Yes.
path now.
Yeah, and so when they look at it, they look at all possibilities, and then it's up to the council to decide what makes the most sense with the public's input.